Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to as well. Today, we're gonna kickstart your fitness journey. Before we get started, I do want to tell you a little bit about myself and my fitness journey. This is always a hard topic for me, so bear with me. So first off, my name's Francesca. Primarily, I do make vlogging content. Sometimes it does revolve around fitness, but that's a big part of my life. I pretty much have been consistent in the gym, I would say since August of last year, which isn't a lot of time. Somewhere between the beginning of last year and a week ago, I have lost roughly about 40 pounds. At the start of 2023, I was 212 pounds, which is crazy to say out loud because I don't think I've ever repeated that. And currently today I'm 171 pounds. Now, granted, I also have retained a large amount of muscle. I'm definitely not the guru on health, on perfect eating, on perfect working out, any of that. But I'm gonna share with you guys 5 easy steps today to kickstart your fitness journey. So step 1 is choosing an activity that works best for you. And when I say works best for you, I don't just mean, works best in your time, makes you the most comfortable, but also you got to think about what works best with what you're looking to achieve. So for instance, if you are looking to just simply lose weight, cardio might be the best go for you. If you're looking to gain muscle, maybe you want to go into lifting. If you want more flexibility, things like Pilates and things like that help to lose weight, gain muscle, and give you more flexibility. And then just choosing something that you physically feel okay doing. Not everyone's gonna want to lift heavy circles, and not everyone's gonna run. I am not a runner. I have asthma. You're never gonna catch me running. So you want to work out what makes most sense to you. Now, this does not mean you have to get a gym membership. This does not mean you have to go out in public. You can do things like at-home workouts. You can go to classes. Things like Cycle Bar are great if you're into cycle for cardio. Taking Pilates classes, taking other mat exercises. There's also dance exercises. You can do that at home, or you can go to like a Zumba class or you can go to a Zumba class. Even spicy dancing classes, they are great for building muscle and losing weight and burning those calories. So just looking into anything. And the main thing I would say with this step is to not be afraid to try something new. I think that is probably the biggest mistake a lot of people have. I personally would have probably never started trying out lifting if I had just not wanted to start trying something new. I've tried Pilates, I've tried cycling, I've tried, jazzercise, Zumba. The only thing I haven't tried yet is spicy dance classes, and I definitely do want to do that, but I have not tried that yet. But for me right now, lifting weights and doing slight cardio that's not like full-on running is the thing that works. So just figure out what you're comfortable with. Also with gym memberships, don't feel like you have to get a gym membership, but also don't be afraid to make that investment in your health. I would suggest that you kind of go and take those free trials for gyms, try to see what gym works best for you. And sometimes gyms don't work best for everyone. I personally, no shade to Planet Fitness. It is very inexpensive and is a great place to start. The culture in my local Planet Fitness gives me the ick. I can't deal with it. I just can't. It's not for me. For other people, they don't like being in the type of environment that I primarily work in because it's too many people. So you got to figure out what works best for you. If you live in an apartment or like a housing community that has a gym, that's a great place to go. Figure out what time people frequent and start going by yourself and then slowly getting yourself. And so now that brings us to step 2. As you can see, we are inside of a gym. I'm going to talk about creating a schedule that works best for you. Because that's what step 2 is, setting goals and setting schedules. But first, I want to tell you to make sure that you're being flexible and honest with yourself as possible. When you're working through creating your schedule, make sure that you're doing something that's going to work around work, school, any kind of obligations that you may have. If you're taking classes, make sure that you're checking to see what days the classes are available on. Maybe you're only doing 2 days a week because Pilates only happens 2 days a week. Maybe you are running and there may be times that you need to come up with different ways to run because of the weather. Try to be as flexible and as open as possible. I originally started off telling myself, oh, I'm just gonna work out 3 to 5 times a week. Very vague, kind of just open, and it really did not work because A, I wasn't being set and specific on what I was planning to do, and then B, I wasn't giving into the fact of like, so if I want to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, what if I have something to do on Wednesday? What if I have something to do on Friday? You exercising, you getting on this fitness journey, it should not feel like an obligation or a job. It should feel like something you want to do. So let's talk about my current split. And again, disclaimer, this is what I do, this is what works for me. It does not mean that this is gonna work for everybody, especially if you're not working out in the gym. If you're running, you'll have to work out a schedule for running. If you're doing a group class, you'll have to work with a schedule that works best. But this is what I do. So I'm gonna start my week off on Mondays. On Mondays, I do leg day. So things like leg presses, glute focus things like squats, focusing on my quads, my glutes, my calves, calf extensions, things like that. Then Tuesday for me is back day. I try to focus primarily just on my back. Sometimes I do a little bit of core. A lot of lat pull downs, rows, whether they're single or doubles. Working a lot as well on the cable machines, just making sure that I'm really zeroing in on my back and getting that work done. On Wednesday, we're back to leg day. I do 3 leg days. On Wednesday, I try to do a lighter leg day. So I try to make sure that I am focusing more on my form, on my performance, especially when it comes to things like my leg press and my squats. I can get really caught up in trying to reach a good PR, which is great. New personal records are fantastic, but I really use Wednesdays to kind of zero in on my form and my skills. Thursdays for me are arm days. For me on arm days, it is very dumbbell focused. So I'm focusing on things like bicep curls, on hammer curls, kind of also focusing on my shoulders as well. So primarily I am focusing on a lot of dumbbell usage on Thursdays. The weekends is where it really starts to get interesting. Friday for me is supposed to be a leg day, but there may be days that I know that I have something to do Friday night, and I'll focus more on cardio, save leg day for Saturday. Same thing with Saturday and Sunday. I try to keep at least one of those days to be a rest day, where I'm not doing any activity at all, completely giving my body time to rest, but I may have to switch those days around. Again, I'm making sure that this works within my lifestyle, and I tend to be pretty busy on the weekends, so I try to give myself those types of allowances. The other part of step 2 in that scheduling and setting goals is the actual setting goals part. Whether you want to focus on things like an actual number on a scale and really zero in on what that looks like, or if you're more on my end and you want to be able to physically see results. For me, I really look out for muscle retention, a shift in overall fat retention in this area. I look for the physical feelings that I feel better with, my restfulness. I really try to pay attention and stay in tune with my body. But you need to know specifically what you're looking for. So, hey, I want to feel healthy in my body. If that's what your goal is, that's what your goal is. Hey, I want to retain muscles and be able to lift X amount of pounds and this type of exercise. That's your goal. I want to lose weight and be able to weigh X amount of pounds. That's what your goal is. So zero in on that. Use step 1 and the scheduling process to get you to specifically what those goals will be. And you'll be able to work through that process. Now let's talk about step 3. Step 3 is your diet. And when I say diet, I'm not talking about a fad diet, things like keto or paleo. I mean what you are actually eating. It's important to focus on that. And remember that dieting is not for everyone. Traditional dieting habits is not for everyone. I am a person that diets do not work. They actually cause more harm than they do help. But you can focus on eating healthy and eating the proper foods. The best way to do this is to focus on eating less fats, less sugars, less processed foods, making sure that you're taking in more protein, more vegetables, more fruits, and more whole grains. Things that are not dyed or bleached, or things that do not have excess preservatives. All of those things are going to help you to eat better, because that's the point of having a healthy diet, is eating better, not eating less necessarily, but eating better. There are certain times where, depending on what your goals are, that you may be inclined to do a calorie deficit. That is entirely up to you. When we are talking about calorie deficits and even eating better, maybe removing some more of the starchier things or the carbier things from your diet, a big important thing is volume eating. Eating a lot of vegetables, getting those things that are high nutrients, high fiber into your diet in order to help you feel a lot more full. I recently tried chia seed pudding. Not really sure how I feel about that quite yet, but that is another great example, something that is able to fill you up pretty well, and you're able to work through that process. Another big important thing is drinking water. I don't think people understand how better your skin, your life, your ability to move forward, to focus, and even just like your general body health is when you drink more water. So drinking more water is extremely important. I know all the Stanley girlies are out there, and you have the girls that have like the times, whatever works for you. Just drink some more water. That's all I have to say to that. And lastly, it is really good if you're looking to gain muscle, especially lean muscle, to really focus on protein. It is very hard to focus on being high protein, so just paying attention to the back of the label. Honestly, that's been the most interesting thing for me in my fitness journey. I come from a family who does not eat any meats and certain types of products, especially things that don't have pork in them. So I'm very used to looking at the ingredients on things, but I have never paid attention to the nutritional facts as much, and really just looking at, oh wow, this thing that I really enjoy has maybe 36 grams of protein and maybe only a few net carbs. This is actually healthy for me for what I'm trying to achieve. So don't look at it as a restrictive thing. Try to look and see what things you can continue to include, and maybe just pivoting how you eat them and what they look like. Another big thing when it comes to your diet is the concept of supplements. Now, of course, I think everyone should be taking vitamins. That's not even a conversation. You should be taking vitamins. We do lack a lot of nutrients within our foods because of just how our foods are processed and made. Vitamins are important. But optional supplements are things like pre-workout, creatine. A lot of people may take things that assist them in the process of building endurance, building strength, repairing muscle. Those sorts of things are definitely optional. I have started taking creatine here recently, and honestly, over just the week of me taking it, I have seen really great results from it. Additionally, I take pre-workout. Pre-workout is a dangerous slippery slope because caffeine, but if it is something you need, if you need that extra boost, that extra focus, this is good as well. A lot of these pre-workouts and supplements and things like that do have amino acids and other things that are lacking in your body naturally that need to be boosted. And so it is a healthier alternative to some of the other ways that we may go about adding in those things. For me, this is really just about gaining a healthy relationship with food, choosing things that are good for me and not just something that tastes good to me, and having a good healthy mix of both. And for step 4, it is important to focus on your mental health. And I think a lot of people forget the fact that your mental health drastically affects your physical health, but it truly does. One of the biggest factors of this is something called cortisol. It's often called a stress hormone. I personally had a large effect to my weight gain due to cortisol. I stress a lot. I have been diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder and anxiety, and those things kind of pack on stress pretty easily. So when you're not paying attention to those types of factors, you may be hindering your growth process and your weight loss or your muscle retention because those levels are getting up. There are also vitamins, of course, as we talked about earlier, that you could take that can kind of help to fight these things. But really working on stress management, going to therapy, doing therapeutic exercises if you can't afford therapy, those types of things make a big difference. This is where that big, huge trigger warning comes in. We are about to talk about EDs. I always implore people to get their concepts and their relationship with food in check before they really start to take that journey towards losing weight. I think we all are pretty familiar with kind of the general large topics of eating disorders and the actual disorders themselves, but there is a lot of disordered eating that happens that's not full-scale, binge eating. That's not full-scale anorexia, where you might not know that it's happening with the person, and these things and these disordered eatings can easily affect people. I took a eating disorders class in college, and one of the things that I realized was kind of broad across cultures in the South as well as people of color. A lot of times when emotional things happen, we associate those types of events with large quantities of food. Best example, if someone passes away, what do people do? Bring in large amounts of food. More food than the family probably can eat in the time that it takes for that food to expire. So we really do, as a culture, as Americans, as Southerners, as people of color, we really associate emotions with food, and that type of disordered eating can really lead to kind of dangerous paths when you start to move forward through this process. So kind of getting that in check while you're going through the process of doing your eating can help you do a lot better. Now, if you have a diagnosed eating disorder, 110% please speak to someone, talk to them. If you think you do, make sure that you're getting help for that. There are medications, there are therapies, there are so many different things that can help to get you in a better direction. But there are some people who just have habits that aren't quite to the point of not having control of it. It's just about them taking that power back. Another big thing is the concept of body dysmorphia. And again, this is something that can be extreme and can come from the effects of eating disorders, but people experience body dysmorphia in their day-to-day lives. I think one of the most interesting things for me here recently, I don't believe in scales. I don't like numbers. I'm not that type of girl. I want to see progress without making it numeric, because then it makes me feel like I failed if I don't progress as quickly as I previously have. I know. Working on it. We're working on it. So for me, I avoid the scale. I've found that that's what's healthy for me and keeps me in a good positive direction with a fitness journey. And so I didn't realize how much I had lost weight, and I actually didn't see it in my body until someone else pointed it out to me here recently. And that was like a big shocker to me. And a lot of times we can kind of get stuck in seeing ourselves in one way, whether it's completely opposite of what we are. Maybe we've lost a lot of weight and we still see ourselves as a big person because we're not at our goal. Or maybe we are looking to gain weight and we still see ourselves as that small person because we're so used to that, and it's not there. There's muscle dysmorphia, where a lot of times people feel like they haven't gained muscle and gained retention. So really keeping up that positive image of continuously looking at yourself. I don't think you guys know how much I look at myself in the mirror. I'm not vain, I'm not cocky, but like, it's important. And I think it's really started to help me frame in my progress. And I take a lot of pictures because I make content. I take a lot of videos because I make content. But do that too. You don't have to share it, but look at yourself. See, hey, look, I did a good job. Look at how different this and this looks, and give yourself that reality. Lastly, in the mental health segment, I think a lot of us suffer severely from insomnia and other disordered sleeping. When you start to consume large amounts of caffeine, like you do with pre-workout, or even to certain supplements, creatine has an energy source in it that isn't caffeinated, but it does still give you energy. You may start to lose sleep. You 100% might. And it is important that you maintain a healthy sleeping schedule as much as possible, because if you are draining your body from energy, and maybe you are dieting, maybe you are taking a calorie deficit, maybe you're cutting carbs, those are all things that are energy, so you have less energy there, and then you're not sleeping, you're not doing your body any help. Your body needs sleep to repair itself. Your body needs sleep to rejuvenate. So getting your sleeping in order, whether it's sleeping due to anxiety, depression that you can't sleep, due to caffeine intake, due to whatever it may be, it is extremely important for your mental health as well as your physical health to have your sleep together. And last but not least, step number 5 kind of segues from step number 4, but it's to be kind to yourself. And I know that sounds super cheesy. It really does. I know. But that is a whole separate thing. The main thing is with a fitness journey is to realize that this takes time. Things are not going to progress at a crazy fast rate. You're not going to wake up in 3 days and be 20 pounds lighter. You're not going to wake up in 10 days and be 20 pounds lighter. So things take time. And so with that, you have to be kind to yourself. You have to be lenient, have to make praises in the small efforts. If you see a pound drop and you're a scale watcher, give yourself a pat on the back. Praise yourself for that. Be excited about that. If you start to see muscle definition in a certain area, praise yourself for that. Get excited about that. It is really important that you keep that pump up and realize, like, things take time, and that's okay. Another big thing is being kind to yourself also goes into the self-investment of things. So taking the time to give yourself quality items, taking the time to treat yourself, maybe buy yourself a new workout outfit if it's something that you can afford, giving yourself those moments of praise that aren't food related. So, hey, I met a new PR. We're gonna go get new leggings. Hey, I met a new PR. I'm gonna go get that protein shake that I really want but I haven't had, or I'm gonna go to Juice Shop. If you don't have Juice Shop in your area, Juice Shop's like a little smoothie shop. You can add like extra stuff in it. But anyway, treat yourself is my point here. And another thing to keep in mind is that your goal will always move. My mom has always said to me in school to chase the rabbit. So, you know, see who's doing better than you, and you chase that rabbit. And then no matter what happens, there's always another rabbit. Someone's always going to be doing better than you. And then this is one of those situations where it shouldn't be about someone else, which we'll get to in a second, but your personal rabbit. You have to chase your personal rabbit in this situation. And for me, I think that's a big thing with me not using a scale and things like that. I see amazing muscle definition in like my quads, and I'm like, but I want more. And then if you're losing weight, right? Let's say your goal is to lose 50 pounds, you've lost 40. And you're like, you know what? I kind of want to push and lose 60. You look at that, and now your rabbit's moved, and you still are chasing that rabbit. So understanding and be kind to yourself that because your end goal keeps changing, that does not mean that you're moving slower. That does not mean that you're not progressing. It means that you're actually progressing enough that you got new goals, and that's a positive thing. And lastly, as I just said a few seconds ago, do this for you. If you don't listen to anything I say in this entire video, you need to make sure that your fitness journey is about you. Not about a doctor, not about your family, not about your significant other, not about some guy you're trying to impress, not about your friends, your family. No one, none of that. It needs to be about you. I do not think that I could stay on this journey if this was not for me. Right now, I think that there have been many of influences in my life where, you know, my family have pushed for a shift and a change in my physical appearance. I have had people that I've known in the past see me after a while to see that I gain weight, may have made comments. None of that mattered, because no matter what, if you're not doing it for you, you're not going to be able to succeed. And you're not going to enjoy it, because then it's going to be about pleasing that person. It's about making that person happy. It's about that person seeing you in a certain light. And none of that's important. You need to be happy with you, and you need to be healthy for you. Well, guys, that's it. Those are my 5 easy steps. That's not too hard, is it? I don't know. If you guys have any questions, fitness related, please comment down below and let me know. I will be glad to help you out. I'm very happy and excited and a little hesitant to really be talking about fitness related things. So please, guys, you know, just share with me any comments, concerns, any other tips that you have for people, and any kind of video content that you guys want to see fitness wise. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a good rest of your day.